So my name is Rebecca, and we're going to talk about the best strategy plans to reduce injury, especially when you're a coach. The steps that you'll take. The biggest thing is prevention, and then we'll talk about how we teach our athletes how to reduce injury and risk, and then we'll talk about an action plan if something was to happen. So prevention is very important, and it's always important as a coach to have a medical liability on each of your athletes. That's a preventive measure that you always want to take. Also, always check your equipment before any practices or before any games, because as a coach, you don't want equipment to fail, causing injury to your athlete. Having a backup plan where games or practices are held, especially if the weather gets bad, you don't want to try to push your luck and continue with practice. Whereas if the weather was bad, you have a backup plan so you don't have to be worried about that. And also, always having certified officials running your meets and games, especially certified referees. They're going to help a lot with preventing injuries, especially officials who are setting up anything at your game or event. Also, the best strategy to make sure you check everything off your prevention list is to have a list. If you have a list, you can go by and check everything off, so that way you prevent any possible risk as far as forgetting to do what you need to do as the coach. So, it's important to teach our athletes how to prevent injuring themselves. For instance, making sure that your D-line knows how to tackle properly without injuring their neck, or making sure that, say you have gymnasts who are leaving their bags around and their teammate is tumbling. Well, you don't want them to sprain their ankle because someone left their stuff on the ground instead of picking up their things. So make sure that you're teaching your athletes to not only injure themselves, but also to pick up their things and make sure they're not in the way of their teammate, because they might actually accidentally injure their teammate. Lastly, an action plan is very important to have athletic trainers and EMTs available at all time. And just on your own as a coach for practices, make sure that you always have a first aid kit. And if you have big events or a big game, I would always try to make sure that there's a policeman somewhere there just to help for a preventable measure. And that's all I have. Y'all have a great day.